So yeah, we gonna let the big dog chime in on this. No, I mean, go ahead, man. You know what I mean? No, this is a real interesting question. I think you should add to this. This was a goodie. This is a goodie. I'm gonna abbreviate. They said, so with movies like The Expendables, and with all of these different, with movies like The Expendables and other movies like that's in the Marvel Universe, where all of these big superstars are all coming together to be in one movie, you know, they kind of clumping the amount of star power from Fast Five all in one movie. So what are your thoughts about it feeling like there needs to be a lot of superstars in one movie in order to sell some tickets? That's what you said, right? Something like that. I tried.
Reinterpretato da Tyrese Gibson è un onore.
Well, whatever.
It's a honor for me to be reinterpreted by Tyrese Gibson.
Ah, my man. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Buongiorno. Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone? Good? Good. Did you see the movie? Oh, you all saw the movie? Ah! You liked it? Yeah, this is a special day for us. We traveled the world to promote this movie. And as they say, all roads lead to Rome. So we are back here at Rome, which just happens to be my favorite place to do press conferences. I'm not just saying that, I mean that. Every single time I come into this room, and every time I come to Rome, I come into this room, and I sit up here and I look at you, we always get the best questions, but there's something about you guys, something about you as a collective body of journalists and interviewers, that there's always, maybe it's me, maybe you guys have always been good to me, but every time I come here, there's so much love from you guys. It doesn't matter if it's Find Me Guilty or if it's Fast and Furious. You all are so generous. So I just want to tell you that thank you for over the years being so kind and so supportive and such real fans of movies. To answer your question, you don't need a lot of stars to sell a movie. We just did Fast 4, and we were here 2 years ago, and it broke all records at Universal, and it was just the original cast. Now, of course, we have a bigger cast for Fast 5. We have a bigger cast because that's where the story took us. The last film, Fast 4, was a bit of a somber film. We were dealing with the loss of love. And now in this film, in the second part of the trilogy, we needed levity. We needed to smile a little bit. Both Brian and Dom needed to start smiling a little bit. And it's very hard not to smile, very hard not to laugh when you've got characters like Roman Pierce and the various other wonderful talent that has come on board for Chapter 2 of the trilogy. So the answer is absolutely not. You definitely don't need a bunch of stars to sell a movie. It's a gimmick that sometimes works. It was not the idea to come up with a gimmick for Fast 5 for all these stars to come in. It was the natural progression of the trilogy that started with the last Fast and Furious. Buongiorno.
Per favore, qui in prima fila.
Buongiorno. Sente, sì. Allora, Roberto Rosiccio. La domanda è d'obbligo. La famiglia. Che cos'è per voi la famiglia personalmente e la famiglia di Fast and Furious, visto che diciamo è il tema portante di questo film? E poi per Vin, visto che è tornato a Roma, qualcosina in più su Annibale. Grazie.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay, you really want to wake up Hannibal. You really want to wake up Hannibal here in Rome. We're talking about a nice movie, a fun movie, Fast and Furious 5. Do we really want to awaken the Carthaginian general right now on the press conference of Fast and Furious 5? I mean, I'm lucky enough to be in Rome after 2,000 years. It's amazing. 2,000 years ago, nobody wanted me in Rome. Now all of a sudden I see bright smiles, joyful faces. Why wasn't it like this 200 years before Christ? What was the first part of that? Family. As you know, family has been a theme of so much of my work. In the first Fast and Furious, essentially, that was about a struggling family. Later, you saw me work with Sidney Lumet and do a film where I'm talking about family. But people don't think of an action movie. People don't think of an action movie as having the ability to incorporate real themes. People don't think of an action movie as having dialogue like the dialogue that you hear on the balcony between Brian and Dom. People don't think of an action movie as having heart. But this is the movie that our public is watching. And Universal has been supportive about us implementing real themes. One of the things I'm most proud about in this movie is that although it's the biggest action movie of the summer, although the stunts and the action sequences have surpassed all the other Fast and Furious movies, the heart is still there. And that's represented in this, the dialogue that's promoting family. So much of our society is without family. So much of our society, so many people are raised in broken households, single parents. And they come to this movie for a sense of belonging. So the idea that we're able to bring in themes that are real like family and promote them in what would otherwise be an action film is a real testament to the experience of watching this movie. It's amazing that with the most amazing stunts in the world, people ask really intelligent questions like that. Why was this theme of family in there? And that they can pick up on that theme.
Chiederei anche a Thais e Paul di rispondere alla stessa domanda, per favore. To answer the same question, please.
Yeah, I think Vin touched on it, but I think just quite simply, I think everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants to be a part of something. And, that's why we have gangs, and I think that's why people really struck a chord with the first one. What did the Dominic Toretto character do? He brought in a bunch of street kids that had a common interest. The common interest was street racing. He created a family, And that's why people identify with him. Everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants a family. And I think it's pretty fundamental. I think it's basic. And I think that it's because it's simplicity and on top of it, the backdrop of what we brought the first time around, that people are still along for the ride.
What they just said.
Signora in seconda fila, per favore. Signora lì.
Salve. Sono Anna De Martino, Cinespettacolo. Da tempo volevo farle i complimenti per la sua interpretazione appunto di Prova a incastrarmi con Lumet. In quel film io l'ho trovato splendido, veramente splendido, eccezionale, nella parte di Dinoccio. Detto questo, visto che lei è non solo attore, ma produttore e imprenditore, mi può dire qual è di tutte queste cose che le piace di più fare, di tutte queste sue attività? E poi, dopo aver diretto il cortometraggio Multifacial, ha intenzione di darsi alla regia per il grande schermo?
Where do I start? Okay, so I've been acting since I was 7 years old. And for me, acting has always been therapeutic. For many, many, many years, I couldn't get any roles, as you know. And 20 years after I started acting and I was beating the pavement in New York City to try to get off Broadway plays, I took a stab at directing, and I directed a short film called Multifacial. And then I directed Strays, as you know, which was in dramatic competition in Sundance in 1997. Had I not done that, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I did that as the last resource, as the last resort, because my dreams as an actor that were so hard fought were not being realized. You learn to produce while you're directing independent film. Unfortunately, I haven't directed a feature since Strays. The only thing I directed was the prequel to the last movie, Fast 4, called Los Bandoleros. And Los Bandoleros, I think, set a certain tone for this leg of the franchise. Being a producer is not something that I got because of my position in acting. It's something I fought for. It's something I held out for because I wanted to raise the standards of what we were working on, if this makes sense. So I didn't do the second and the third movie, and the studio came to me and asked me to do a cameo for Tokyo Drift. And they had said they weren't really sure if they ever wanted to go back to doing Fast and Furious again. All my agents said, don't do the cameo. If you do the cameo, you may mislead everyone into thinking that you're in the movie and you'll just let everybody down when they realize you're only in the movie for half a minute. But the studio said, since you haven't done any more Fast and Furious movies, if you do this cameo, you can produce. the next Fast and Furious. And I went to the studio and I said, if I do this cameo, I'd want to produce the next 3 Fast and Furious movies. And the reason was, as good as the first 3 were, they were disjointed. They weren't connected. They didn't follow the true progression. And what I wanted to do was take a more Francis Ford Coppola approach to producing these movies. If you look at this Fast and Furious, it's the first Fast and Furious that starts with the same exact scene that the last Fast and Furious ended. That was one of my biggest victories in Hollywood. It sounds simple, it sounds like natural and obvious. It was one of the biggest victories I've ever had in Hollywood, was to be able to honor the audience by continuing the story, as opposed to just using a brand name and using the brand name and taking the story all over the place. One of the reasons why people appreciate this film so much, everyone says it's the best film. One of the things that the audience appreciates so much about this film is that it's continuing the story. Hollywood, the studios in Hollywood forgot the most important thing about creating a saga, which is leaving your audience asking one question: what happens next? So by us starting with the breakout scene, we are answering exactly what happens next. People go, why are you in Rio? Why does the movie take place in Rio? This was all thought out beforehand. If you remember in Fast and Furious 4, Dom and Letty are on the beach, and Letty says, I hear Rio's beautiful this time of year. And we learn that Vince, Dom's other childhood friend, is in Rio. So when Brian and Mia break Dom out of the prison bus and now he's got to get his family to safety, the only place he can go is to that friend that was established in Fast and Furious 4 that lives in Rio, south of the border. The reason why I haven't directed a feature, Madame, is because of a fault of my own. And that is, I have this Hannibalic drive that takes all my free time and focuses it on the Hannibal trilogy. And I probably should have directed other movies. I have friends that say direct other movies. But I've been so myopic about my desire to realize this film that hasn't been attempted in 50 years, this Hannibal the Conqueror film, that I haven't allowed myself the freedom to venture off of that goal. Hopefully, once Fast and Furious 6 is delivered, at the level it'll be delivered, hopefully the studio, Universal, will have enough faith that they'll allow me to do the Hannibal trilogy. And if they don't allow me to do this Hannibal trilogy, I'm going to ask all of you to make them an offer they can't refuse. I'm going to need you to get in there. Yeah, see, she got it. She knows what I'm talking about.
Riccardo, abbiamo tempo per un'ultima domanda? Ah, ecco, non ti vedevo lì. Bene, no, scusate, c'era prima la signorina Gala.
Allora, io voglio fare una domanda un po' particolare. Io sono Linda Simeone della redazione di Elaborare. Io non mi occupo di cinema, ma mi occupo di tuning. E la domanda che io voglio farvi è una cosa un po' particolare, perché noi in Italia stiamo vivendo per il tuning un momento un po' difficile, perché abbiamo delle restrizioni sulle omologazioni e soprattutto perché praticamente per quanto riguarda le modifiche delle macchine si abbina che le modifiche sulle macchine vadano a creare praticamente degli scompigli e quindi vadano a creare un po' tra virgolette dei criminali. Si dice che noi siamo tuners e non siamo criminali qui in Italia. Volevo sapere se per caso voi siete consapevoli di questo abbinamento, di questo binomio un po' fastidioso che hanno i tuners e come la vivete, perché cioè, i tuners vivono questa cosa per passione e quindi fanno le stesse cose che fate voi perché vi amano, perché vi imitano. E il fatto di prendere le capocciate in testa per questa cosa qua, voi come la vivete?
I grew up in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles, which is where the first one took place, the first Fast and Furious. When I was in high school, the street racing scene was really big, and I frequented. I went all the time. It was down the street from where my high school was, off of Peoria. It was the hot spot. So when I was asked to make the first movie, and they mentioned that the backdrop was modern day street racing, I was like, I know that. So I was excited to get into it because I felt like we were finally given an opportunity to represent my brothers and sisters, the people that I grew up hanging around. And, you know, by design, it was perfect without realizing, in the sense that, going back to what he talked about earlier, how multicultural it was. Japanese cars were just coming into the scene, right? Before that, it was all American muscle cars. As much as that audience embraced this movie and loved it so much, we ruined their sport because we brought so much public attention to what they were doing. And as grateful as they were, it was a double-edged sword because we ruined it. The police started locking down sections of street. So unfortunately, maybe we ruined it for you too, to a degree. But I share the same passion. I race cars. I actually have the fastest BMW M3 in North America right now. So, and then I race Porsche GT3 Cup cars. I have a shop, and it's called AE Performance. We manufacture high-performance parts for cars, and we do race prep. So you and I speak the same language, even though maybe we don't.
Gentlemen, anything to add to this question, and then we close the press conference. Anything to add to this question before we close it?
No.
Okay.
Hey,
Grazie.
give us another one, but we done with that. Paul closed it out. He got it.
Grazie a tutti. Buongiorno.
Volevo andare a vedere solo perché ho patito della saga. Cioè, non tanto, io già avevo capito che era una merda clamorosa, perché